particular, every album we made for the 15 or 17 years that we were making albums, and I'm talking about albums that sold millions of copies, every album we did, we never failed to have an ounce or two sitting right there on the console.
Really?
A big bag of Quaaludes, okay? Cristal champagne and Jack Black bourbon, and you know, all at our beck and command right there. I don't think I've ever made an album other than for the last few years that didn't have cocaine, and I was snorting it. And we'd stay up for weeks making these albums, and we were doing like 3 or 4 albums a year. I was doing myself, I was doing Tina Marie, I was doing the Mary Jane Girls, I was doing the Stone City Band. I did Eddie Murphy under the same
See,
kind
what
of
I can't figure out...
But my point is,
okay,
when I stopped snorting and started smoking, then that's when my addiction skyrocketed. Because after you have that first hit of cocaine, it's like a million to, the difference is astronomical compared to snorting. I mean, there wasn't a rush in the world that I had ever had in my life, other than maybe sexually or something.
What I can't understand is how you can work when you're stoned. Because having been stoned, I knew when I was in that condition after smoking dope, I couldn't come in and do a show or do a newscast.
Well, marijuana was easy. I mean, we did marijuana. We woke up in the morning, we called it Mary Jane. We wrote a national song about it. You know, I love you, Mary Jane, that kind of thing. And, you know, we smoked all the time. We never really thought about it. And I think one of the ways we were able to make so many albums off it because the whole band did it. Everybody but maybe one guy in the band. The whole band did it. And we were all in accord with one another.
Right, so everybody's on the same wavelength.
Everybody was on the same plane. I mean, everybody was snorting, and everybody was creating, and everybody was singing. And this went on for 15 years, us making albums like this, you know, like before we went on stage, after we went on stage, during the making of the albums. Then about 15 years later, 17 years later, one day we sat and we had a one-on-one in the studio, and the whole dimension changed. It was like we couldn't make an album. I couldn't sit and make an album.